I make 6 figures a year. I have a nice house. I drive a nice car. Money, money. Ah! You're not a nice person. You are not a nice person. You lack emotional intelligence, empathy. Your conversation sucks. You're not kind or considerate. You leave zero space in your relationship for honest and transparent conversations. You don't allow space for your partner to actually be a partner to you. You don't know how to be a partner, actually.
Now, the caption at the top right here says this video is for men only, but the more she talks, the more it sounds like she's talking to women.
You're emotionally unstable, emotionally unintelligent, emotionally unavailable. You're not a nice person. It's great to be a provider, but it would be even better if you could be a partner.
All right, show of hands of how many men can be in a situation with a woman who asks you to tell them the truth about a situation, and then you tell her, and then all she does is begin to deflect and put the blame back onto you. There's never any progress. Show of hands of how many women you get into a relationship with, and they laud their accolades and their money and their position and their title as if that should elevate their status, regardless of how many times you tell them that you're not really concerned about all of that. All you really want is just a kind person.
If he ain't paying all them bills, he can't say nothing. Okay? Nothing, because he's just a roommate.
She talking about.
Okay? So you as a woman, if you're married, single, whatever, if your man is not paying every bill in that house, do whatever you want. Okay? He don't run nothing up in there. Okay, just so you know, unless he's paying every single bill and every one of your bills, he doesn't run anything. Stop caring so much.
Well, okay, cool. Look, by that logic, well, if I'm paying for everything, man, I get the opportunity to bust down whoever the heck I want to bust down.
Look, bang, 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 daddy, bang, bang.
I mean, like, I bust down your home girl, your sister, your mama. Why? Because you're not paying for anything by that logic, right? Sounds about crazy. I don't know.
I've seen a lot of cases where some women think they're just as equal to a man, so they will buck up at a man, disrespect a man, talk crazy to him, hit him, and then be surprised when there's some type of ramification there. So what do you say in that situation where a man is being disrespected, he's being harmed by a woman? Should he just turn out the cheek? How should
equal rights, equal lefts?
No, I'm gonna be honest, and this is people. I'm gonna get bad backlash. But if you big enough and you bulk up at a man, the shit out of her. I'm sorry. The one thing for sure, nobody should be attacked. Not women or men. So men shouldn't put their hands on women, and women shouldn't put their hands on men. Right. But at the same time, unless you defend yourself. So if a woman, she know the repercussions, she know you strong as hell. I'm a big girl. Ain't no way I could beat no man. But if it's a random guy on the street, I'm like, for no reason, pushing him in his face. If he knocked me down and knocked the coins out my head like Mario, how I'm gonna be mad? I'm in this man's face.
Self-preservation is a must, and we all have a right to self-preservation. If you are in a situation that requires self-defense, you have a God-given right to do that, male or female. And that's as much as I'm going to say on the topic because, YouTube and all. Okay, let me crack you guys up, right? I was sitting here talking with my daughter just a few minutes ago, and she said, Dad, let me tell you a girl joke. It's hilarious. You might not get it, but it's hilarious. Don't let it go over your head. I said, okay, baby girl, run it down to me. She says, okay.
What do the courts consider a woman who victimizes a man?
To which I replied, a victimizer. She said, no, justified.
When you type, why is my wife yelling at me on Google, it'll give you a list of potential triggers such as her feeling unheard, financial stress, mental health struggles, etc. But when you ask, why is my husband yelling at me, it instead assumes that he's abusive and gives women a hotline to call. I wonder why that is.
See, stuff like this gets in the way of the true work of feminism. I thought feminism was about equality, equal opportunity, equal rights, and lefts. I don't get it, but it seems like in this society, right, a man can never truly be a victim. Why do I say that? Because when a woman victimizes a man, she isn't ever called a victimizer. She's called justified.
Girls think that they want to date a high-value man until he starts calling you out for not taking responsibility, before he starts holding you accountable, before he has higher standards for you than you have for yourself. Everyone talks about, oh, date a high value man. It's so, this is what you do to have to attract a high value man. But I've never heard anyone talk about like actually dating a high value man takes a totally different kind of woman. It's not for the weak. I have other friends who are dating like very loving, very successful, perfectionist, ambitious men, and it is not for the weak.
Translation, get in where you fit in. You ever heard the old saying, if it don't fit, don't force it? Basically, if you are an average woman, go ahead and get yourself with an average man. No shame in it. That's where you belong.
So, I hate dealing with like fine ass men and like men with money, because you know that's not what keeps me. I want you to be in love with me. I want it to work out, but it's like there's a whole half of the world of women who literally don't give a fuck. If you got money or you fine, you got them. So it's like
the morality.
These never learn their lesson with me. It's like I want you to go without and be like, damn, she was real, I lost her. But it's like you can't if 80 million bitches still want you because you fine, because you got money. And I got one in mind. I got one person in mind. I got a couple people in mind, but there's one that comes to mind because literally, like, we could have been perfect, but he went to go play in the NFL. Athletes also just be having their way, and I avoid athletes and because I already know what's coming, and that's the only people that be trying to talk to me. And I'm just like, bro, well, I gotta go with what's here. And, you know, I try to give them a chance, and they get man. They are going. Bro went to the NFL, and I was like, he not gonna, like, you gonna miss me. Like, you gonna miss me? No, you're not.
Got options, baby.
Anybody you want. Piss me off.
A regular dude, baby.
You're not gonna learn your lesson. You're never gonna learn your lesson.
Medium ugly.
You men never learn your lesson because it's just. So I need you hoes to like make it harder out here. All right, don't just be going for these. You're supposed to learn, or at least put them through hell for me or something. I don't know.
No, you gotta learn.
Make them feel it. Somebody make them feel my wrath.
How about giving that nice guy you put in the friend zone a chance? That might work for you. I'm just saying.
So there's this video that's going around that's just driving the men crazy.
Oh, you gotta give him that huck too and spit on that thing. You get me?
Driving them nuts. Okay? Now, what I have to say about it is, a lot of y'all ain't never had no huck tour. And it shows, bro.
And it's sad.
It shows.
Very sad.
I really hate that for y'all. I really do.
There are some women that when they date a black man, they have a certain level of expectation or a certain standard. However, whenever they date the white man, and I'm talking about black women, for some reason, when you date the white guy, and I do have a video coming up on it, and it's called the black wife effect, but for some reason, you're okay with dating a dusty white guy and helping him level up, but you're not okay with dating a black man that is working on himself and helping him level up. A lot of black women expect black men to be ready-made, and that's the community. For some reason, black women get to comment as to why successful black men date outside of the race. However, you really never see any criticism or scrutinization when it's women like Kamala Harris, Kentaji, Candace Owens, Jean Kareem Pierre, Don Lemon. There are so many black women that marry or date white men, but it's not scrutinized. But whenever you see a black man who just have a couple of light-skinned women on his yacht, Michael B. Jordan, Chris Brown, Drizzy, y'all get criticized. So it's very...
As one famous YouTuber once said, they want the right of first refusal. I think that's really what it is.
It is easier to date a fraud than it is to date a real one.
Damn, that's how y'all really feel?
Good men are not perfect men.
I don't say that as a diss to any man, to any good man, to my man. I say it as a reality check for the babes. So I would make comments like, you are literally so perfect. And this is like 1 year into our relationship. And I noticed that he'd always snicker to himself and be like, I'm not perfect. At first I was like, what, in the self-sabotage? I said, this is a compliment, baby. Take it. He'd always just like laugh it off or whatever and just be like, I'm telling you, I'm not perfect, but thank you though. It wasn't until later on in the relationship that I understood why he did that. This was probably like almost 2 years in, and I had a little bit of a reality check where I was like, oh, this man isn't perfect. However, the very thing he was trying to avoid, I had fallen into, of expecting perfection. So when he didn't, when he was a human, I was so shocked and taken aback. And he was like, but I told you I wasn't. And you having this standard of expectation of me allows me no room to be human.
I dig that. Now I get where old buddy's going with it. And you know what? I got to respect that, because that's one of the number one things that gets in the way of, of people having a happy relationship, these unrealistic expectations, right? And you don't allow someone, or unspoken expectations too, where you don't allow someone to just be human, so you don't really get to know them. But I digress.
And I was like, oh my freaking days. 2, a good man will require you to be a good woman. And that won't always be easy. We ain't always as perfect as we think we are. It's a shock to me. But when you're with a man that requires you to be held accountable for your actions, or to apologize when you were wrong, or to notice that you played a part in it just like he did, the good woman in you will be tested just a little bit. And last but not least, a good man will not always be easy to date or be married to. And I'm not even talking about the fact that sometimes they're going to piss you off because that's what comes with being in a relationship. No, I'm talking about the fact that it is a lot easier to date a fraud than it is to date a real one. Because a real man will be real with you and showing you his flaws. And he'll be vulnerable with you. And he'll tell you when he's not feeling the strongest or the manliest. And you also, as a good woman and the right partner for a good man, have to kind of be ready to not abuse that.
Not only that, but step up to the plate and be the woman that you need to be. If I position myself to where I'm comfortable, can afford to expose my vulnerabilities, or are you the type of woman who knows what to do when that is exposed to you, or are you immature and then you're going to abuse that?
What are you bringing to this so-called table?
Me, for myself, I work a 9 to 5. I'm a single mother. I take care of my kid. I pay my own bills.
But that's everything that you do for yourself. What are you bringing to the table as far as a relationship?
You're an adult. Everything you listed is you just being a human adult. So I expect you to be independent, just like I'm independent, Ace is independent, Jew's independent. We do everything for ourselves. Like a lot of women's personality trait is that I'm strong, independent, and don't need no man.
All of those things, as they just said, only benefits you. That's not even something that's worth bringing up. That's like going to a job and they ask you, well, what do you bring to this workplace? And you start prattling off about how kind and sweet you are. Ma'am, those are just basic requirements to be a good employee. That comes standard. What do you bring of value?
Of course, that's not showing me anything that you could offer a long-term successful relationship. Most men don't want to deal with that because usually women that have that mindset usually end up treating their significant other in a belittling type of way. And the guys are just like, you know what, I don't want to deal with that. It has nothing about being intimidated. It's just
avoiding the headache.
It's just unpleasant sometimes to be around people who lead with their finances or lead with their education, because you tend to not treat them as a human. You just treat them as disposable.